Hi, my name is Pablo Zabaleta. Welcome to our course in Operations Management. This introductory video will cover what is Operations Management and what competencies are needed in this field. So let's start straight ahead. Why operations? One would wonder. And the question is simple. It doesn't matter what you do. You live and die as an organization by your operations. There are no exceptions. Now, by operations, you traditionally think about the transformation side of the business or organization. But remember that the complete supply chain covers also suppliers and distribution. The modern way of thinking about operations is covering the complete range, that is, the complete supply chain. And what do we mean by operations management? Well, essentially, the science and art of making things happen, of translating strategy into results. But this means that you need a judicious combination of both the technical and academic side and the intuition and judgment sides. So, what is the role that we play as operations managers? We must make the most efficient use of the resources that are entrusted to us. To do that, you have to develop the following formal competency. I'm not going to read it out. You can read it on your own. But what does this mean? It means that you must answer 3 permanent questions. On an individual level, how do you grow? How do you manage others? And how do you make your operations more efficient? And to be able to answer those 3 questions, you will have to develop certain competencies both on the soft side of things, like for example knowing yourself, conquering your will, focus, active listening, people's management, and decision making. But you must also develop the hard competencies of knowing how to create products, design thinking, efficient uses of resources, a systems approach, Occam's razor, and what I call the operations kung fu. So let's go straight ahead to just mention what is each one of these competencies that we're talking about. Know thyself, which in Latin would be noce te ipsum. Alexander the Great said that you must know yourself, because then you will know others. Yes, why is that? In coaching, we know that everybody uses a mental framework through which they see the world. If you know yourself, you will know what kind of mental framework you're using. And that's crucial, because it's the only way that you will be able to see things objectively. You cannot make good decisions if you are not seeing things objectively. That's one of the reasons why doctors do not treat as patients their own parents, their own kin, because they cannot be objective. And if you're not being objective, you cannot make the best decisions. Conquering your will. You must learn how to manage your will, because remember, tenacity always trumps brilliance. The Latin saying went more or less, voluntas omnia vincit. Will conquers everything. I touch it a little bit to spell it as voluntas et labor. Your will and your work will trump everything, will conquer all. Focus. You must learn how to concentrate on what you're doing. But that also means that you have to learn how to not do things that you don't need to. You must learn how to ignore things. Only that will help. Which helps you is something that you must allow to penetrate your conscience. You must learn how to be present completely in what you're doing. And this excludes multitasking. Why? Because multitasking is not something that works. The human brain cannot concentrate on more than one thing at a time. It has been demonstrated with formal studies that you usually tend to lose about 64 to 65 seconds to regain your focus when you are distracted by an email, a phone call, or whatever. These same studies show that usually you lose 1 hour out of your workday just by checking your email or your WhatsApp account or your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever. 1 hour out of the working day, just trying to regain. So, learn how to focus. Perform active listening. It's crucial because there's a difference between hearing and listening. If you're thinking your response to what your other person is speaking, how can you say that you're listening? So keep these key points in mind. Don't interrupt, pay attention, maintain eye contact, try to perceive really the words, the intonation and the corporal language of the person who's speaking to you. Paraphrase from time to time just to check that you are understanding correctly. Give feedback. Remember the 3 R's. Receive, reflect and recapitulate. Learn how to listen actively. You must learn everything about people's management. And I mean really seriously everything. Not just from an academic point of view. You must learn how to manage individuals, how to manage groups. Lead them. Get them to perform to the best of their abilities. You must learn decision making. Because remember, you will always have to take decisions with insufficient information and under pressure. Of course, if we had the complete information, we would always make the best decisions. But that is not so true because we never have the complete information. Resources are limited, so our information is imperfect. So we must make do with whatever we have at hand. But it is possible to make good decisions. You will have to learn how to do this. And that's a skill that you can learn. You must learn all the 5 stages of creating a product from conception to distribution. That's it. You must learn design thinking, how to design exactly for your client. You will have to learn how to apply design thinking as a tool for planning and action. And you always have to think about your product or service regarding the needs and the requirements of the client. You will have to learn the 5 phases process of design thinking, ranging from emphasizing to testing, the complete 5 steps. You will have to learn how to make efficient use of the resources. Efficiency will become a mantra to you. You will have to learn how to use all the traditional resources. I'm talking about financial, non-financial, human, time, but there are other resources also. Everything is a resource as long as you're using it. For example, knowledge, image, environment, surroundings, the position. Those are just a few. So you will have to learn efficiency and make it an integral part of yourselves. You will have to learn the systems approach. If you haven't learned it yet, you will have to really assimilate it into your being. You will have to discern, that is, to be able to disaggregate the components and identify them, how they work individually by separating them, and how to integrate them. That is, how do they work together? The systems approach is something that you will have to learn to use and apply all the time. Occam's razor, where you will learn that usually the simplest answer is the truth. You will have to learn to avoid entangling yourself in complexities that will not help you in getting ahead of a phenomenon. And finally, what I call the operations kung fu, where I must bring back to mind that kung fu is the skill or mastery of something. We're not talking about martial arts here. We're talking about mastering certain concepts. The time constant, the visibility horizon, the position. So this is what we will be covering along with other things during this course. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.